How do I pronounce your last? I just realized I've never said your last name.
Really?
I always say Kurt Mawiski.
You want the Polish way or the English way?
I want the Polish.
Nakshievich.
Mashevich?
No, Nakshievich. No, you could say Nasseritz. Kurt
Nasseritz.
Nasseritz, yeah.
Nasseritz.
That's the English way, but the...
Nasseritz.
Yeah.
Fuck, I hate that.
It's tough.
Nasseritz is hard.
It's hard, man.
Now I know how people feel about Montalbano.
Right. And it's like such a nightmare when you got to spell your last name for somebody and
Yeah.
repeat it 3-4 times.
Yep.
Go letter by letter.
Nasseritz.
I used to hate it, but actually as I've gotten older, I've actually like it.
Yeah. Let
And
me
it's
try
so
and do a proper intro
Yeah.
saying Nasseritz.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Nasseritz.
Yep.
All right. Welcome to another episode of You Are Not Normal with TONYMONT. Thanks for joining us. I got my good friend Kurt Nasseritz. Right? Did I get it?
Nailed it.
All right. I don't think I've ever said your last name, which is why I was cautious there. And you can say it in Polish or whatever the hell.
Nakshievich.
There you go. But a great friend of mine, known Kurt, 3-4 years?
3 or 4 years, yeah.
Went on some, trips together. Always talking business, life,
Yeah.
philosophy. Good person to have in your corner. So I appreciate you coming in.
Well, thanks for having me on, Tony. I've learned a lot from you from wholesaling and, appreciate our friendship and just looking to add value.
Yeah. Awesome, dude. Yeah. I was just thinking of you whenever I texted you a couple of days ago. I was like, damn, what the hell's Kurt been up to? Because I knew you were traveling.
Yep.
Which I want to get into all this because you just took 6 months off.
Yes.
I saw you got engaged and
Yep.
I mean, you're all grown up. You're engaged. You got a dog. You're just an adult all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
But yeah, I knew you were taking time off, and I was wondering if you were back in town. We got to texting, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm kind of just figuring out what I want to do next, and I'm working from home." I was like, "Well, come in and fucking bang the phones with me and the team." So you're just spending the day here.
It's been great, and I appreciate the invite. But yeah, last year was an interesting year for me. Big change. I took 6 months off, and that was right before me and my partner split up after working together for 5 years. And it was just it was definitely a weird year.
So like splitting up with your partner, was there any like bad blood there? Or you guys just said, yeah, maybe we're friends, we're cool, this was great, and we're just going our separate ways?
Honestly, it was like about as good as it could go. I think like reflecting back when we started working together in 2020, our whole goal was to just make it in real estate.
Yeah.
Like just make enough money. Like my goal was to make 10 grand a month when I first started. Mm-hmm. We scaled this thing to a point where in 2024, we had a big office. We owned our office. We had a team, and we did 206 deals in 2024.
Holy smokes.
All in Arizona. And we grossed 3.6 because I was just looking at the numbers before I came.
3.6 was our biggest year.
Yeah, but that's flips. That's wholesaling. That's like everything that we netted that we made. Mm-hmm. But I think when 2025 rolled around, it was like, do I even want to try to go bigger? Like, was this my goal? Because to start, I just wanted to escape having to work a 9 to 5 and to escape the rat race and to have freedom. And then I'm 5 years in and I'm looking at it like, am I choosing this? Because you know how it is. You get going and then you're like, well, I want to be the biggest wholesaler in town.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you're spending $100,000 to $150,000 a month in marketing, overhead. And so, I think, and me and Dan, I think our goals just kind of drifted as we, we had a similar goal in 2020 and then 5 years later it's different.
I can see that. I mean, when we get started doing anything on our own, I think we have this dream of like, man, if I could I'm envisioning this 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
If you're used to making 5 grand a month, I mean, that's huge, right? But then all of a sudden a year, 2 years goes down the line, you're making way more than that. The numbers kind of become almost irrelevant. They don't make you feel any certain way. It's the same amount of work. You get a little desensitized to it. I remember one month I made like 250 grand in a single month. I had like a flip close. We had a really good month at the wholesale company. And I was just like, that's cool, but like it
Right.
didn't really move the needle that much.
Right.
Because it's just like, oh, I mean, I'm still going to get up tomorrow, go to the gym and go to work and do the same shit.
Yeah.
You know? So I think we get a little desensitized to that. But what happens is it's like, okay, I've conquered this goal. Now that I've proved I can do this and making money, it's hard work, but I've figured that out.
Right.
Now what is my life? What do I really want out of life? Do I want to
Exactly.
do this every single day? And I think the ebb and flows of businesses, you know, you can be at a peak or a valley.
Right.
And when you're at the peak, you're like, let's scale.
Yeah.
And when you're at a valley, you're like, maybe we should just split up and quit and go on a 6-month vacation.
Yeah. And it gives you time to like, I mean, it's a luxury to be able to say, you know, do I want to do this anymore? And that was the point I was at, was like, what did I get into real estate for? And it was just to have the freedom to work or not work, and to work once and make money on that through rentals. And I got away from that. I started chasing another dream that I don't even know was mine.
Sure.
All of a sudden, you know, like I said, in order to compete in Arizona, you're going to have to spend
a lot of money
on marketing.
Yeah. It's a lot of stress, a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
And we've had this discussion before, I think before like the team either, you know, quit or got fired or whatever happened to kind of trigger your final thing. And I don't know if it was on our trip up in Page or whatever.
Yeah.
But I remember we were sitting there thinking about it, like, how much money do you need a month to be happy? Because if that number is 20 grand, 30 grand, like you can do that pretty easy.
Yeah.
You know, especially in real estate when you understand what you're doing. So it's like, if that's all I need to like be happy and stress free, do I want to work 3 times as much with 3 times as much overhead and responsibility and stress to make double that?
Right.
Like it doesn't, there's a point of diminishing return.
Agreed.
Sometimes when you're trying to scale that way. So
Agreed.
It's good to know that, and good to know like, all right, is this aligned with my happiness? Because if it's not, it doesn't matter how much money you got, you're fucking miserable.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, it's like that changes too over the years.
Of course.
You know, like I wanted to have the biggest wholesale operation in Arizona. We were close. And then it's like, now it's like, okay, I am okay with doing less deals, having more freedom. But now that I'm doing that, it's like, oh, now, you know, you're always kind of pushed to want to do more. It's crazy.
That's what makes us who we are, though. And like I always say this, it's not because like I have friends back home or just people I know, or younger people who are like, well, why don't you just sell everything and move to Mexico and like live like a king for the rest of your life? And you're like, well, I could do that, but that's not the same person that got me here.
Totally.
So the people that are the 1%ers, the ones that can get through a ton of adversity and just not quit and keep building and keep getting better, it's not the same person that wins the lottery and is dead in 12 months because they didn't deserve it, right?
Man.
So when you work really, really hard, and this shit never happens overnight. It's so much work to be successful in anything you do. And once you get that reward, it's not just like, oh, okay, that's it. I guess I'm going to go sit on the couch now. Yeah. Like you can't. It's in us to keep moving forward. But that doesn't always have to mean building the biggest wholesale company.
Right.
It doesn't, it could mean let's find this balance of 100 miles an hour with my business for 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
100 miles an hour with my relationships.
Yeah.
For 4 hours a day. 100 miles an hour with my fitness and my faith or whatever you're into.
Yeah.
It's like you can have balance where as long as you're going really hard and building something, it can be whatever product or whatever part of your life you're building, as long as you're doing the same on all of them. So it doesn't always have to be focused on just work,
Totally. But yeah, I mean, you're totally right. Like, I think really what I missed when I traveled for 6 months, because I was really kind of just burnt out and I enjoyed traveling. But like a couple months in, I was like, all right, like what now?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. It's like the grass is always greener. But yeah, bounced around Europe, bounced around the East Coast, something I needed to do. Mm-hmm. I really did. So, yeah, I mean, now it's just figuring out that balance that we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I know for me, what I like about real estate is I have my hand in a couple different things, right? I'm doing a fix and flip at one time, like always doing one flip. I like keeping my crew busy. I like turning a shitty property into a nice one. I got direct to seller wholesaling, and then the hard money loans is one of my favorite things because you make a lot of money wholesaling.
Yeah.
What are you doing with it?
Right.
So,
and you're doing all this by yourself.
I'm doing all that by myself. I mean, the loans are the greatest thing, because you make a bunch of money wholesaling and then lending it out at 12 or 14%.
Yeah.
That's just passive money.
Yeah.
Coming in. But I'm doing it all by myself. I have 4 VAs right now. One of them does like TC assistant work, and the rest are just cold callers.
Yeah.
So
you're getting leads in Maricopa County, I'm sure. Maybe
all Maricopa County, one in Kingman I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
But, I didn't do any deals in January. February, I should do 5 and close 90 grand.
Yeah, so that you started in January, right? So you've now, I mean, what is it? It's February 6th. Right. So you're a little 5 weeks into this new venture by yourself and didn't get any closings in January. But now in February,
got contracts, but no,
you
no
got contracts your first 30 days, but no closings. And now all that hard work, getting contracts, you're going to close 90 grand in February.
It's incredible. With like 7 grand of spend.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, how much more was I making with a big team? I haven't done the math, but.
Oh, I mean, it's
pretty
I feel
close.
the same way. Like it was 6 months after we sold the wholesale company. I was maybe back then, because I was kind of taking a break too. I was maybe working 3 hours a day from my house that I was like starting to renovate. And I think like month 6 after moving out here to Arizona, I made, I don't know, working 3 hours a day. I think I made like 70 grand that month just fucking around.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, like how inefficient are we making businesses where I can work by myself and make good money,
Right.
It's crazy. So
it is, man.
Well, I'm glad you're having a ton of success. And so I guess now that you're doing this by yourself, got this 90 grand locked up, it's closing. How you feeling 2 months into doing this solo? Like, are you thinking, hey, I need to start building something again, or I'm just going to keep doing this?
It's a good question. I'm already feeling the need to hire a sales guy just because I'm not being able to do everything. The assistant, like the paperwork has been helping, having somebody do that. But I'm at the point where I'm just going to probably ride it out for the first quarter. Just me, just to go through that. And then probably hire one person, but keep it small.
Yeah.
I'm focused more on the net right now. I went down that road of having all the overhead. And I just want to, try to have more balance in life. My goal is still to travel for 3 months this year. Mm-hmm. So to be able to do that, not be tied down to one location, and just kind of live like that.
Yeah. That sounds so nice.
It does. It does. But, like us as entrepreneurs, like you're traveling and then you're thinking about work, and then you're working and you're thinking about traveling. So it's just, at least that's what I go through.
Yeah. I'm a little older. How old are you?
35.
35. I'm 42. And I started my first business when I was 25. And when I think back of, so you've been doing this for 5-6 years?
I actually started in 2018 working with somebody else. So 8 years.
8 years.
8 years.
So I started my first business at 25. By the time I was like 28 or 29, I was doing pretty good. And then in my younger 30s, I started making really good money.
Yeah.
And then by my mid 30s, I was like passively making good money. Right. And I didn't have to work.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be at work, I should say. I had businesses that were being ran, and I was making money. And I took a couple of years where I just kind of fucked off. And I went in with 2 guys on a beach house down in San Felipe, down in Mexico. Spending a lot of time down there. I was on an airplane like every week. Jeez. My buddy had just gotten a job at Southwest. He made me his companion, so I could just literally drive to the airport and just pick a flight and hop on it if it was a Southwest flight for free.
It's amazing.
So I was, and I've never been married. I don't have kids. So I was doing that for a while. And then COVID hit. We got really busy. I started, working a lot again. It was like kind of a stressful time. My dog Tank passed away. Yeah. And then I was like, it was kind of a good reset for me. I'm like, I just fucked off for a couple years. I just got busy for a year. My dog just died. And I was just thinking about probably what you're thinking about now. And I was like, what do I want my life to look like? And it just dawned on me because I was like 37 at the time. And I was like, I got a lot left in me.
Yeah.
Like, I've been fucking around for too long.
Yeah.
Like, let me go build something else. Let me go see what I'm capable of, because I've gotten, the dogs kind of left my soul for a minute.
Yeah.
And I'm like, let me go see what's going on, and let me take another swing at this. And I'm so glad I did, because this has been a fantastic industry. I've met a lot of great people. And then I slowly got into coaching, which is like my favorite thing to do. Yeah. I mean, getting on coaching calls every day and throwing all the events that we do, like, that is, to me, is the greatest joy ever.
Well, I mean, like, me and Danny give you a lot of credit, because I was even just looking back on the numbers before we jumped on here, and I think it was 2023 was our second best year. We did 117 deals. And then we went to your mastermind in 2023, implemented a sales process, which is what we were missing.
Yeah.
2024, we did 206.
Yeah.
So that is a huge jump.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think I give you guys a lot of credit for that. I always have. Just seeing your operation run, how you run the meetings. So.
Yeah, that was I remember you guys we were talking about that earlier when you got in today, and it's like, man, that was nobody was doing that. I mean, still nobody's doing it. No. Because none of these fucking gurus have a wholesale company.
Exactly.
So it's like, and that's another reason I started wholesaling again. Like, this team's like 7 months old. And talk about a small team, dude. I got like 2 closers out there. I got 1 dispo guy. I mean, we've done $440,000 closed with this team in 7 months.
Already this year? Oh, no, in 7 months?
In 7 months. We got $250,000 set to close in the next 30 days. There's $1 million in our pipeline. I'm looking at our CRM right now.
Yeah.
But just with like a small team, it's like, how much more do you need than that,
Yeah, and it's something I wanted to touch on too, because I was mentioning it, like, you guys do it so differently than me. I've only wholesaled in one market, Phoenix, gone super deep in that market. Like, I know I could basically underwrite it just by looking at the address.
Sure.
I can sell deals via text, like 1 or 2 texts. Seeing you guys do it virtually is just something so different for me.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, like, hopefully the listeners can take is, you don't have to do it Tony's way or my way. There's a bunch of different ways to make money in real estate. You just have to find what works for you.
And just stay focused.
And stay focused.
Because like, that's what happens when a lot of people get into this industry. I think they get sold on a dream of make a shit ton of money in real estate. You never have to close on a house. You need almost no money to get into this industry. So they get sold this, false sense of reality in this industry, and then they get into it and they're like, oh shit, this is hard. It's a lot of work. You gotta make a lot of phone calls. It's a job. And deals fall through. There's title issues, there's tenant issues. I mean,
so many issues.
We earn our fucking money.
We definitely do.
So I think when people realize that, maybe they even get a deal or 2 under their belt, or they don't, they go, okay, well, I don't like this I don't like this lead source. I'm going to jump and go to PPC then, because these leads suck. And then they do PPC, and now they're wasting more money. And then it's like, well, I can't wholesale because all the sellers want too much money. I'm going to just novate everything. Now I'm going to do novation. And they get so distracted, they never get good at that one thing. And it's like, I just was in Tennessee a couple weeks ago sitting with Jerry Norton. And he's got a brick and mortar in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And he's got an extremely small team there. And he's like, dude, you can easily do $1 million a year with 3 people.
Totally.
In one market.
Totally.
He's like, we go on appointments, we do this or that. He's like, but there's a million different ways to do it, but just pick one and stick to it.
Yeah.
Like, who gives a shit? You don't have to do it virtually. You don't have to do it in your backyard. I mean, whatever you want to do, just stick to it and get good at it.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to see, other people doing things, the shiny object syndrome, right? Like, I have only done really cold calling direct to seller in Arizona. I used to go on a lot of appointments. I still go on some, if I can get in front of the seller and they're ready to sign, I'll always do that because Phoenix is very competitive. But I dabbled in the virtual as well, even though it's my same market.
Mm-hmm.
But I've done the same stuff for lead sources, for acquisitions for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And it works. So
it works. Why
mess with
reinvent it? Yeah, exactly. Let's do this. What's the craziest? Because I have been to sellers' homes to get contracts before.
Yeah.
When it just so happened to be in, when we were out in Raleigh.
Yeah.
We don't do deals in Arizona yet, so I haven't been on any appointments here. But, out of 600 and something transactions I've done, I've maybe been in 5 of those houses, right? So, but the 5 I've been to were, every story is a crazy story.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So, like, I know you've been on a lot more appointments than I have. What is, like, the craziest shit you've seen on an appointment?
Well, I could go a lot of directions with this. I have a lot of them.
What was the first one that came to mind?
The first one that came to mind was this one guy. It was super scary. I opened the door. He was definitely selling discounted, but he was like sweating. He had his shirt off and he was just sweating. And we're walking through the house and I just had like bad vibes, bad energy from the guy. And we're walking through the house. He's showing it to me. I think he's on meth. He's visibly sweating. He's the owner. And we sit down to negotiate. I'm about to lowball this guy. He pulls a gun out of his shorts, puts it on the table, and says, "Okay, yeah, let's talk about the house." And he was genuine, but he was just like very paranoid. And I basically did not give him an offer to his face.
Yeah,
I was like, "Get me the hell out of here!" Like, and come to find out, this guy had given me an autobiography that he wrote.
Oh,
and
no,
he
was
has
on
a
meth.
history of killing somebody and about how his dad or his family molested him. And he gave me his book, his autobiography.
Wow.
And that's one that sticks to me where I'm like, that was the scariest I've ever been to. But it's a lot of drug houses.
Yeah.
I would say 70% of the problems that I solve are bad tenants. So I'm having to take on a bad tenant, deal with them, get them out. But a lot of drug houses is, yeah.
Isn't it funny? Like, even with that guy, right? It's like at some point, this guy bought a house.
Definitely.
He could have been a meth head when he bought the house. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or he could have progressed to that. But, like, what is your excuse out there that you don't own real estate?
I know.
When meth heads...
I know, man.
Meth heads own houses.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel this way, but when I'm on the phone with these sellers, sometimes I'm like, how on earth? Like, sometimes they own 4 or 5 rental properties. And I'm like, how the fuck did this person ever have enough, like, sense to buy 4 houses? I can barely have a conversation with them.
I know. It's insane, man. It really is. And some of these people, they hold on to them for 25, 30 years, and that's one thing I've noticed that's really worked for me is at least 10 years of ownership.
Oh, yeah.
Absentee owner with a bad tenant. That's like the common thread for all my deals.
Yeah. I think that's, 90% of our deals. I mean, that's the data we pull.
Yeah.
Absentee owner. We pull, like, I don't know, rule of thumb is kind of 400 grand and below in terms of value, with at least 30% of equity, 30 to 100%, own the place 10 years or more.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of the bread and butter.
It's the bread and butter, man.
Low hanging fruit, I would say, when it comes to those types of leads. Did you guys ever run PPC out here?
We've done everything. We tried TV, we tried PPC, PPL. It all kind of works. It's just what's your cost per deal, what's your cost per lead. And we've yet to find anything that beats cold calling.
Yeah, it's the best return.
It's the best return for what you're going to spend money on.
Yeah, and I believe that. And here's maybe we'll have a debate about this because instead of me just jumping on the phones and getting leads and starting from scratch with me solo, like you're doing, when I started wholesaling again, I just started hiring a team.
Yeah,
and I got cold call leads. If I was to do it by myself, I think I would prefer like an inbound lead.
Interesting.
Like I think I would do mail and PPC.
Yeah.
Only because of time. Because like you said, you're 2 months into this already and you're already like, damn, I don't have enough time. I'm going to have to hire a salesperson.
Too many leads.
It's too many leads, too many follow-ups. Like even if you're making less of a return,
Right.
it does become like a time thing. And I would probably rather be, 6 leads to a contract than 20 leads to a contract or something. And then I would have enough time to take those calls, make my follow-ups, and still dispo the deals where maybe it's more sustainable that way in terms of time, but you're definitely always going to make more money and more return on cold call leads.
Yeah, I mean, I think in theory, yes, I would prefer to do that. When I originally had started doing Facebook ads to try to do that, but what I like about cold calling is you can target, like I know if I get a cold call lead, that list is price point is right, it's absentee owner, it's usually a mobile home, and I know where to lock it up.
Yeah.
Whereas you do the other stuff, you might get $1 million home somewhere, or
well, that's like for PPC, but like for mail, like even like the list you're pulling, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you just pulled that exact list and then just took, anybody 60 years older or older and just mailed them every month
love mail.
too.
Yeah.
It's like, man, how many more leads? That is a good point about cold calling, and we say it all the time. Where it's like when that phone's ringing or you're calling, the other person's situation.
It's our
the
clientele.
lead situation,
Right?
It's an absentee owner. They got a tenant or it's vacant. Yeah. They got equity in the house. They've owned it for 10 years or more. It's not in an LLC or a trustee, so they're not a savvy investor.
Right.
The neighborhood. The county or the city. Like everything.
Yeah.
So that is an advantage for sure. Because with PPC or like Google ads, you don't know who's clicking on the freaking
It's
ad.
true. And from my experience doing it in Arizona, didn't just click on yours. They clicked on a bunch of other people. We have Open Door and OfferPad out here. And I try to go after stuff that they don't want. Mm-hmm. That's why I started originally doing mobile homes.
Yeah.
Because we were working through the hedge fund phase where every single family was getting bid up by OfferPad, Open Door, Zillow. All these hedge funds were buying, but none of them were touching mobile homes.
That's how you guys got into the mobile.
That was the eye-opening thing. It's like, wow, there's just way less competition here.
See, I love mobile homes. We talked about this earlier. Like we have one, a buyer was trying to back out, so I was getting ready to close on it. Double wide in a really good market out in North Carolina, 2,000-year build on a foundation, 1,790 square feet, 4.2 on an acre and a half. We got under contract for $93,000.
That's incredible.
ARV is like close to 300.
Yeah,
and it's like that. You can get those mobile home deals all day long.
That's my favorite lead. If I'm going to be,
it's my favorite too. Dude, this happened on a coaching call with this kid. He's like, I got this mobile home lead, and it was right outside of Raleigh. And he's like, I just don't know how to run the numbers on it. I don't know if it's a deal. She wants 110, and I go, lock it up.
Lock it up. That's
I
all
go,
you had
what?
to hear.
I go, what year is it? He's like 95. I'm like, what's the acreage? He's like, it's on like 0.6 or 0.7 acres.
Yeah.
And it's a 3.2. And I was like, you'll dispo that all day long for 150.
Yeah.
Lock it up for 110. Yeah. Literally, I didn't even look at the deal. I just knew it. And he locks it up for 110, and literally like the next day dispoed it for 130.
Jeez.
Like it's just like you just know those.
You just know it, and they go quick because like a lot of investors, obviously they like the cheaper entry level stuff. The holding costs are less. You don't need it as cheap. And what I found too is a lot of times Zillow is super wrong on the square footage.
Yeah,
on mobiles.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's a big objection we always get is, well, Zillow says this. I mean, I've had a one in Zillow where I paid the Zillow price and still made over $100,000 on the wholesale fee.
That's crazy.
Because they had the square footage wrong.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, shit, that happened to us last year. Our biggest deal in house was like $87,000, and it was a cabin up in Candler, North Carolina, which is outside of Asheville in the mountains.
Yeah.
And the Zillow said it was like 700 square feet.
Right.
The owner was like, I feel like it's more than that. And I'm like, it says 700. So tell me where it's more. She's like, well, we got it downstairs, but I think we added that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I got to go off of 700. But we ended up locking it up. This thing was like 1,900 square feet.
Amazing, right? It's
but Zillow said 700, you know, and I had to go off of that.
Right.
And she wasn't very convincing. She had no fucking idea. But they'd owned this for 30 years. They paid nothing for it. They still made a lot of money on it. They were happy. We were happy. So it was a good transaction. But yeah, Zillow's wrong a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. Zillow doesn't always help us, but sometimes it does.
I mean, it usually hurts us, but like, that's why with mobile homes, I mean, it's usually wrong. They usually don't have the correct square footage. And there's just a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot more like expertise that you have to really know to really value them.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
people throw away those leads.
They throw away those leads, man. Or they're like, hey, the lady lost the title. Like, we can't buy it. We can't sell it. It's just land value. I'm like, okay, well, let's just do an abandoned title, right? Let's just get the title for her.
Yeah.
And
get a duplicate title and still close on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. People don't understand them. They act like the sellers think it's a depreciating thing because it's a mobile home, and so do some of these wholesalers. But man, there is so much money in mobile homes. How many? So you started realizing that in the hedge fund craze.
Yep.
And then you ultimately started flipping them yourselves.
Definitely,
right?
yeah.
How many of those did you do?
At least probably 35, 40 in my career. And again, the main reason was Phoenix is very competitive. We were looking at how to bring in more revenue, and we weren't really capitalizing on any other wholesalers' deals. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying, send me your deal, we're like, hey, let's narrow down our buy box.
Yes.
Let's be known for something in Phoenix.
Yep.
And that was mobile homes. And I would get, after posting about it on my story or sharing a mobile home flip, became known as like the mobile home buyer.
Yeah.
So like realtors would bring me deals, other wholesalers, and I would pick up a lot from them. So I just looked at it as another way to get market share in Phoenix.
Sure.
And turns out they're great flips.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to spend a lot on renovating. Like the most I've spent is $80,000 on renovating one of them, which is high, really high.
Super high.
But, the great part is you're always exiting for $299 in that affordability area, 300 and under.
Yeah, there's always going to be a buyer.
There's always going to be a buyer, and you can't get hurt that bad.
Right.
You really can't. I mean, I've lost money flipping mobile homes, but never where it's like super serious.
Yeah, it's never detrimental.
Yeah.
What about what was I going to ask you? I know we've been through some stuff out here in Arizona with like regulations or disclosures and shit like that. And it seems like there's some more of that going on in certain states, in Oklahoma and Ohio, and they want all these disclosures signed before you get your contract signed. So it's kind of a hot topic. It has been for a few years, and people kind of panic about it. I know Arizona had some wholesale disclosure years back that everybody was kind of panicking about, and it's kind of business as usual.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I look at these like regulations, right? Like, if you compared it to this, if Zillow never existed, right, and a seller could not see a Zestimate, okay, and then so we're in the industry, everything's the same except there's no Zillow, there's no Zestimate, and the world gives you an option, and they say, okay, one of two things is going to happen. Seller's going to have to sign a disclosure knowing you're wholesaling their property in the contract.
Yeah.
Or we're going to create the biggest real estate website in the world where they can click on their address and see what their estimated value is. What would you like to happen? We would all go, if they could see the estimated value, we're fucked. This industry's over.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But we all started this while Zillow was already there, so we don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's just another thing I
see your point. I see what you're saying.
So these disclosures that are new, I think the only reason we freak out about them is because they're new. Totally. If they were always here, we wouldn't think about it, right?
Yeah. Like that last one they came out with a couple of years ago, everyone did make a big deal about that in Phoenix. And then I talked to our lawyer, and he was basically like, you just have to have a disclosure saying that you're a wholesale buyer. So I'm just saying buyer's a wholesale buyer. That's all we have to change. And he said, yeah, that's all you have to change. And then they made a new proposal. I'm sure you were talking about it in Arizona, where it's definitely more serious. And I read it a little bit, but from my understanding, it's more so protecting foreclosure leads, which I never really liked to begin with.
I hate foreclosure
They're
leads.
so emotional. They're so competitive. And the seller really doesn't want to sell. They have to sell.
Well, and which people think is a great lead. The problem is, think of the person that gets to a foreclosure.
I know.
Like that avatar of a, they are in such denial.
Totally.
They are the biggest victim.
Yeah.
And everybody's fucking them and nobody's taking their house.
Right.
And they will fight to the bitter end. I mean, that to be under contract with a foreclosure when it's with an owner occupied house, to try and get that to the closing table is a nightmare.
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
And from my understanding, the new legislation they came out with in Arizona is more so protecting those people.
Yeah.
Because there was some big, did you hear about the lawsuit they filed against one of the wholesalers out here?
Oh, yes, yes. I read that.
Equity stripping.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's in response to that.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that didn't hear it, I mean, it's just basically like this guy was claiming he was helping them get out of foreclosure and having them sign a deed, essentially.
Yeah, essentially.
Essentially.
So what is the new law out here? Because I haven't read it in a while. But the new proposal is what? Like, you can only
the scariest part is that you can't pay less than 82% of fair market value, and they're going to have the title companies police that.
Which is insane.
Which that sounds awful because you couldn't do wholesaling.
Yeah.
Getting it for that. But who's to determine what 82% of value is? Is it 82% of current value, like in its current shape, or Zestimate, or the ARV?
Well, and who's training this title company to tell you what the estimate is?
Right.
I don't know anybody at a title company that can run comps.
No.
What a weird responsibility for somebody in that transaction to determine that. What I think is going to happen, though, is title companies want to do transactions.
Definitely.
And they're not going to be overvaluing them, so you can't do a transaction.
Yeah.
Like, it would just be shooting themselves in the foot. Maybe it's a regulation to satisfy the realtors. But I think ultimately it's just smoke and mirrors. And it's
Same
like,
here,
if you have a good title company, they're not going to be like, I don't know, Kurt, I think you're getting this a little too cheap.
Yeah.
We're going to lose this transaction. But
And I mean, it hasn't passed. They just proposed it. And I think they just proposed a bunch of crazy things. And ultimately what I think is we'll all have to be licensed.
Yeah.
I see that coming. And I don't have my real estate license. I never have.
Me neither.
But if I have to get it, it's not that big of a deal.
No, it's not that big of a deal. It might even be good for the industry.
Exactly.
Most realtors are lazy. Nobody that's a realtor now that isn't wholesaling is going to start wholesaling.
Right.
So it's one of those things. It's just going to cut out a lot of people that don't want to take a weekend class and get their real estate license. So fuck them. I don't get too concerned about those regulations. It's like, hey, we'll just do the disclosure then.
Yeah.
And we'll just come up with a way to overcome it. It'll make us better. We're going to have to build better rapport and just treat our clients better. So
absolutely, man. And I always try to say my sales process is a little bit different than your guys. Like, I'm always telling these sellers, if I'm not your best option, go seek your best option out.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing this so long, I know who my seller is. I know who's the best fit. And what I see a lot of newer people doing is spending time talking to a guy that says he wants to sell, but he's just not like a wholesale seller.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've done probably over 600 or 700 deals. Maybe one or two of them had granite countertops.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if it has granite countertops, that's a sign to me, okay, let me just move on.
Yeah.
Let me spend as little time with that lead as possible.
Yeah. I can see that. When you're seasoned enough and you have the luxury of not having the overhead, stuff like that. It's like, I can kind of spin the wheel and get the best deal.
Yeah.
When you are building a team, I mean, I doubt you told your team like, hey, make sure you're talking to the best. The best. You don't want to have them
prejudge the leads.
No, because I mean, just like the deal we did in Candler, it was $87,000. Right off the rip, she said she wanted the Zestimate, which was $300.
Wow.
I didn't feel like it was a deal at $300. We offered her like $204, $207. I can't remember what it was, and she took the first offer. So like on somebody that's prejudging a lead, they could easily go, this thing's in the mountains. There's no comps. What is it worth?
Right.
Who knows? The lady smokes in the house. It says it's 700 square feet. Who's going to buy this? There's no cash buyer. She wants Zestimate. Fuck this.
Yeah.
But it was 87.
No, that's a really good point. And obviously it always comes down to, well, what's her reasoning for selling too? Right? It's not to say if it has granite countertops or she's asking high that I won't work it. It's what's the reason?
Yeah.
And a lot of newer people, and even me, and as I'm jumping back on the phones, it's, well, everything's for sale for the right price, or you called me. Like, I don't know. To me, those are always just time wasters.
Yeah, they can be.
Like, a seller that wants to sell says yes, they want to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, too, it comes down to a sales process.
True.
I think a lot of people will go into a conversation that aren't as seasoned as you or I, and they'll just start asking questions about the roof and this and that, and ask the price, and the person says estimate, and they just feel like it's not a good lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, we switch up our script all the time. And one thing that I was hearing on a lot of our recordings was we kept getting in these like mini arguments or some agitation in the intro, because we were like, yeah, you were referred over by a referral company and they said you wanted to sell your house.
Yeah.
I never said I wanted to sell. So we just changed that little thing to, hey, I see I'm calling about 123 Main Street.
Yeah.
A referral company actually sent your information over, said you were open to hearing an offer on that property. Is that right? Yeah, I'll hear an offer on it. And it like has brought their guard down so much that they will open up about why they're wanting to sell. And then by the end of the conversation, they're like, yeah, I can close in 45 days or less. And in November, on cold call leads, my team was like 11.5 leads to a contract.
Wow.
Which is an outlier. We've never done that well.
Yeah.
It was a great month for us. Probably because the holidays were coming. I mean, people were just broke, and they were thinking about selling. December was 22 leads to a contract. That's more in line with where we're usually at.
Yeah.
So it's like to get those types of numbers, you gotta really dig into every single lead.
No, I mean, and that's what it takes. Just like constantly tweaking the process. Yeah. What's working, what's not. And like what's working well for me is like focusing specifically on like there's a lot of people building duplexes right now in Phoenix. I have like maybe 2 or 3 people that are buying these, and it's just a much easier sales process, right? I mean, there's no tenant.
Yeah.
There's usually they don't need to see it. They don't need to walk it. I know the numbers. So it's like, okay, let me tweak and start marketing more towards these type of leads out here. And I mean, that's what 2 of my deals are out here is,
oh, hell yeah,
is lots that are going to be built duplexes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so cool though that you can, this happened to us about a month and a half ago where maybe the 6th person in a row that I was talking to was just telling me what a great market Tulsa, Oklahoma was.
Right.
And I was like, well, how many people are going to tell me what a great market this is before I just go jump into Tulsa?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we virtual wholesale. We're here in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Right.
I've been to Tulsa one time, and it was when I was driving from Chicago to San Diego the first time I stopped in Tulsa. Don't know anything about it, really. But bought a bunch of data, and literally the next day started getting leads in Tulsa. Locked up our first deal there. It's a $20,000 deal. I already have a buyer for it. So it's like when you hear about like these hot markets, or you meet a buyer that's looking for a lot to build a duplex on, it's like you can tweak that marketing you're using for your cold callers or mail, whatever you can get for data, if you're using that type of lead source, because how are you going to get that lead using PPC? It'd be really difficult.
Exactly.
So it's that's a beautiful thing about this industry. Well, shit, when I moved out here, I sure as shit wasn't going to hire an agent to find me a house. I literally went on Propstream, pulled all the expired listings in Cave Creek.
Yeah.
Anything that was, a 3-2 or more, over 2,000 square feet on over an acre. And I had this list of properties, and I just started cold calling owners that had expired listings. My house was that I bought was listed for like 1.3, I think. I ended up getting it for $975.
Amazing.
Because I just cold.
You're not going to get that deal on the MLS.
But no, and like as I do wholesaling. I'm in real estate as a career. But even in my personal life, it's like it's such a good tool to have.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm curious, what makes Tulsa a good market? Like, what makes something a good market to you?
People moving there, more people moving in than out.
Yeah.
Good price points still. There's a college there.
Right.
There's good jobs there, and is a good price point there where,
Right.
you know, you can have all those things and be in Scottsdale and be like, well, how the fuck am I going to wholesale $1 million houses, right? But if you have all those things and you have the good price point of median home value being under 350 grand, everybody can afford to live there. Right. So you have a good mix of buy and hold investors and flippers.
Makes sense.
So like half your, pretty much every deal you lock up in a market like that, when the ARVs are, you know, 300, it's like, I can sell this to a flipper at this price. I could sell it to a buy and hold guy at this price if it's in good enough condition. So it opens your buyer pool up so much more.
Makes sense.
And you can novate and you can sell to retail buyers because it's in that sweet spot for like FHA buyers, you know? So that's really what I like. I like these like kind of one-off markets, like these B markets that not everybody is marketing. Like most people, you would say, hey, if you had a market in Oklahoma, they'd be like, OKC all day.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, 90% of you go to OKC and I'll go to Tulsa.
Yeah. That's interesting, right? It's wherever you can make money on.
Yeah. It's like these tertiary markets.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, it could be a small market outside of a big market, or it could just be, you know, you're in a state like North Carolina and you're like, everybody wants to market in Raleigh, Durham.
Right.
Why don't I just market in Fayetteville?
Yeah.
Like better price points, a lot of good buyers down there, and it's not as competitive.
Yeah.
You know?
No Arizona though, huh?
We bought some data here. Here's the problem. And I was surprised you're just doing cold calling out here because we struggled with it.
Yeah.
So we must have had 100 leads come in Maricopa County. Same data, same criteria, all that as we do everywhere else. And out of 100 leads, I mean, we just didn't get a contract, had nothing like good in a follow-up that we could even get under contract. And I was like, man, why are we going to be 100 leads to a contract in Arizona and every other market we're 20 leads to a contract?
Yeah,
why even mess with it? Even if the assignment fees were double here, it's like it would take so much more to get one. It just made more sense to stay in the markets we're in.
Yeah.
I do want to buy out here. Yeah. So eventually we'll start buying out here, but right now, like my goal this year is to buy 2 houses a month.
Nice.
And to keep. Nice. Yeah. So
in Arizona, or where are you looking?
Just in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just buy and hold. You know, 20 a year is kind of the goal right now.
It's an amazing goal.
And it's, you know, we get so many good deals in and we make, you know, 20, 30 grand on them. But I just started looking at all of our deals every week. Like, which one of these am I keeping? Like, where do the numbers make sense? And this one, we're going to be completely out of pocket, 17 grand to buy this thing. We're going right into a DSCR loan. It'll be cash flowing $500. We'll have probably about 30, 40 grand worth of equity into the thing.
Nice.
And already a tenant in place, on a lease. You know, it just makes sense.
I'm looking to do that too. I mean, I've got one that what's your rate on your DSCR right now?
6.375.
Same here.
Yeah.
Probably using the same lender, maybe.
Probably. We'll share that info outside of this call because I don't have my affiliate set up yet.
Yeah, get that set up first. But it's tough in Phoenix because, like, I bought a house for $203. I put 40 grand into it. It should have priced for $315. So I should have not that much into it, but I'm going to have to leave more into it to make it make sense.
Yeah, but how much are you making on that money in it, though?
Well, what do you mean?
Like, what's your cash on cash return?
Oh, cash on cash return is very good because, I mean, I'm going to cash flow probably, I think my payment will be around $1,600 and I'm going to try to get like $2,000, $2,100, but that's not including taxes or insurance, right? So I'm going to try to cash flow for $400 or $500 and I'm going to have to probably do a 70% loan instead of 75 or maybe even 65 to make it work. Just because I've noticed in Phoenix, rents are getting compressed.
Yes.
It's hard to rent a house now. I'm trying to rent 3 of my properties. And, you know, the tenants have more control than ever.
Yeah.
You know, I'm offering $500 off first month's rent. So it's a weird time. And the rates are still fairly high.
Yeah.
So
That's why I like North Carolina, because you can get into these things for $100,000,
Totally.
and they rent out for $1,500. Like that's kind of the deal on this one.
Beautiful.
So it's like, and there's like strategies we're doing that I'm not going to talk about on this podcast, but where like we can get like almost 100% of the DSCR, to cover the whole purchase price.
Nice. So be into it for no money.
Be into it for almost no money.
Yeah.
You're paying an origination fee, closing costs, some little bullshit. But even on this one that we're buying, it's, we're 17 grand into it with the cash flow, having that 17,000 into the property of our own cash, and the rest we're making payments on. We're cash flowing about $500. We're making like 33% on that 17 grand.
Yeah.
It's like, where else can you do that with money?
Absolutely, man. And the tax write-offs.
And the write-offs, everything. And the appreciation and everything else. I did like a breakdown of a 5-year plan with this property. And when it's just a math equation. Like real estate is just math.
That's all it is.
And I love math. Like Eric always says I'm like Rain Man when it comes to numbers, because he'll like say some complicated equation and I'll like have it real quick, And he's like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you're retarded. But yeah, like when you put it on a spreadsheet though, like on this deal, it's like, oh, it's only cash flowing $500. Like, that's not going to change anybody's life.
Which is true.
But once you write out the 5-year plan on it, it's like, oh, in 5 years, this property is going to make me about 93 grand when you count the cash flow and the equity and everything else. And let's say you do that twice a month for the next 5 years. Like man, all the young people out there, you don't need a ton of money to get into real estate.
No.
Like you can literally buy a house a year.
Yep.
Like with almost no money down or no money down. Like if you just learn that strategy at 20 years old, buy one house a year.
100%.
By the time you're my age, you are going to be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
And it's not like when I was a kid, I don't know if you feel you grew up the same, but I just thought I would never even buy a house for myself, let alone rental houses. I thought that was like, oh, you got to be so rich to buy rental houses. Yeah. And then now that I'm doing it, and I've done it for a few years, it's like, oh, like you can do this with almost no money. And you don't even have to be that intelligent.
Right.
Because I'm not.
No, I wish I kept more of my rentals. And, the great part about it is when it works great, it works great. I have like 2 rental properties. I've had 1 renter in there. They pay on time every month. It's just like you got to know that a portion of them are going to be problems.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what, I never thought I'd sell a rental property. Last year we sold two of them, and now we have a mobile home park we're going to be selling.
Yeah.
So it's like, 4 or 5 year hold period is a good time to then maybe exit.
Sure.
And roll it into something else. But that's why I'm not a big fan of mobile homes as rentals. I don't know if you're keeping any mobile homes, but
I had a lot of mobile home rentals at one point, and I ended up selling all of them because I was just sick of the tenants.
They get destroyed. You don't get as much of a write-off.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'm there with you. All right, so let's do this. You're very successful. You're very balanced, Kurt. You're happy.
Yeah.
You got a puppy now. You got a fiance who I've met.
Yep.
Great woman.
Yeah, she is.
You travel. You're well read. You're philosophical, successful. I think you got a really level head on you.
Thank you.
You're very stoic.
Yep.
Which I appreciate. What is like? Just give some, just a little bit of advice for people out there that, because you're a one-man show right now.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people, I would say the majority of people watching this, because I see all the comments, are usually one-man bands.
Yes.
And they've either done a few deals or they're just getting started, or they're, been thinking about it for 3 years and they just can't pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I would say like you're a perfect example of somebody that can get into this by themselves, make really good money. I'm sure you'll say there's nothing special about you. You just get to work.
Yeah.
But maybe just gives, 3 pieces of advice when it comes to somebody out there that's either doing this by themselves or thinking about doing this by themselves and getting into it.
Yeah, don't compare yourself with anybody else. I think I fell into the trap of wanting to have the biggest wholesale operation, and that wasn't really my dream. I just kind of ended up getting there. So just like knowing yourself and what you want is a piece of advice, which is easier said than done. And then if you're going to be wholesaling, the most important thing you can be doing is talking to sellers. Mm-hmm. That is overall the best, highest activity you could be doing with your time. I try to simplify it. Everyone has these numbers, and I just try to talk to 20 sellers a day that are actually selling. Have 20 real conversations. Mm-hmm. And that'll take you longer than you think to actually do.
That's a full day.
It's a full day. And I mean, at this point in life, it's more so just like trying to figure out what you want. That's where I'm at least.
Yeah.
Is figuring out exactly what I want, which is still up in the air a little bit. But
do you think that meeting your fiance, getting a dog, do you think like those changes have made you rethink that? Like where before it was like definitely all you. Yeah. I think we can, as men and alpha men, it's like beating our chest like I will have the biggest wholesale company because I'm a badass.
Yeah.
And then a beautiful lady comes in and, sweeps you off your feet.
Yeah.
And maybe calms you down a little bit. And then you start realizing like, it is kind of nice, cuddling on the couch sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, she definitely has helped settle me down for sure. Also just getting older and realizing, man, another day's gone by. Like time's so quick and you're like, wow, okay, like I'm 35, like I could see how quick this time is going and how little time we really have, and starting to think more of how do I want to spend my time? Or do I want to be working every single day? Do I want to be having experiences? Just being more appreciative. I mean, my parents are both still alive, so like I'm going to make the effort. I used to see them once a year. I'm going to try to see them 3 or 4 times a year now, just because I know how valuable that time is. They're in their 70s.
Yeah.
So I want to maximize that time with them. But for sure, like, for me, it was my only goal in life was just to like I said, to start make $10,000 a month. Then once I did that, it was like, well, I want to make $100,000 a month. Right. And then the numbers,
well, if 10 grand made me happy, how happy would I be with 100
exactly.
grand?
And then the numbers keep going. And that was kind of the revelation I had this year was like, or last year in 2025, it's like, I'm never going to be satisfied. There's always going to be a goal where I'm pushing. Well,
especially like you said earlier, when you're comparing yourself to somebody.
There's
always going to be somebody that is making more money than you and appears to have a better life than you on fake ass social media.
It's so true.
So it's like true. That is such an empty fucking hole.
And just focus on doing better than you did the day before.
Yeah.
Like really you versus you, it's cliche, but it's so true. Like if you know in your heart that you did better than you did yesterday and you're improving, I think I get a lot of fulfillment from that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'll say we'll end with this because it kind of mirrors what you just said. Yeah. When last year when I started wholesaling again, I hired like 6 people, balls to the walls. Like this was February of 2025. And, just more deals and leads than you could, know what to do with.
Totally.
Just trying to, train 6 people by myself and handle the transaction. And it was a freaking disaster.
I can only imagine.
So it fell apart in like 3 months or less, actually. And I was just I was working 16 hours a day. I was just psychopath.
Yeah.
And I remember the last person that left either got fired or quit. And I was standing in the office by myself.
Oh, gosh.
After this 80-day whirlwind of working my fucking ass off. I was in the middle of a full renovation on my house. I just gotten a new dog. Like my life could not have been more chaotic.
Yeah.
Could not have been more chaotic. And I remember standing here in the office by myself after all of this. And there was like couple $100,000, 220 grand set to close or something.
Yeah.
And my goal was in the first 90 days to do 250, right? And here I was like, at 220, but my life was so fucked, and I had just ruined everything. And I when that last person walked out the door, I just like shook my head for a second. And I was like, I'm driving to Vegas right now, and I just had to get away from everything that looked familiar.
Yeah.
Drove home, packed a backpack full of clothes, and just drove to Vegas blindly. I got a room. I didn't drink. I didn't gamble. I literally just listened to a book recommended to me by a friend.
Yeah.
And I just walked around Vegas for 2 or 3 days. I never felt so alone in my life. It felt great. And because I need to be around a lot of chaos to feel alone, kind of like where nobody wanted to talk to me. I'd get kind of anxious if I was in the mountains doing that by myself. I like to be around people when I'm in that setting. But like I was like Vegas, there's shit going on constantly. And for just a couple of days, I listened to a book on my headphones and walked around and people watched and just kind of got out of this fucking race.
Totally, man.
And I was driving home like a couple of days later, and I called Jerry Norton, who's like the godfather of wholesaling. I'm so lucky to have a relationship with that guy. But I call him and I was like, Jerry, I'm sorry. I need some advice. I was like, hey, Dad. But I was just like, this is what just happened. I was like, I don't know what the fuck. And everything he said was something I knew, but I just needed to hear.
Yeah.
And one thing he said, like you just mentioned, he just goes, Tone, he goes, you don't need to be the biggest, baddest wholesaler on the planet.
Right.
And I was like, damn. I was like, somebody needed to tell me that.
You needed to hear that.
I needed to hear it because in my head I was like, you have to be. You have this like image, or you've done this before. You were doing $350,000 a month.
I know.
You know, out in North Carolina, you're doing all these 6-figure deals. You're growing this team. You sold the company. You're doing this, and it's like in my head I'm just like chasing this like dragon.
It's all ego
that didn't
too.
even exist.
Yeah.
Like nobody gives a fuck what I'm doing.
No.
You know?
But you think it does in your head.
Yeah. As long as I'm bringing value on my on YouTube and Instagram, which is all I ever want to do. Like I feel like the same way you were saying, like, was it even my dream to do that? I started realizing like I can't do this. Like it is making me miserable. It's making everybody around me miserable. And I was just like it was like a weight off my shoulders. Like, oh, thank God somebody, especially Jerry Norton, told me I didn't have to be the freaking best biggest wholesaler on the planet. And I was like, oh, thank God. And it was just like an excuse to stop stressing myself.
Well, and also the silver lining from that is you made one of my favorite YouTube videos from that.
Oh, yeah.
Which any guy that's in wholesale real estate should watch that because it's so accurate and it's not something a lot of people have made a video about before. Yeah. Which is just like the struggle of having a wholesale business, the turnover, the everything you talked about.
Yeah, it was funny. So that was like the day after I talked to Jerry, and I got back here and I started jotting ideas down. What did I do wrong? What am I going to do better? And I made that video a little in my mind. I'm like, I don't know how everybody's going to react to this. Yeah. But I will say out of everything I've ever put out, like more people reached out to me out of the blue.
Totally.
Steve Trang texted me, who I hadn't talked to in a long time. Yeah. Like it just seemed like everybody was reaching out to me. It's
just so real. That was just a real, genuine video. And I think people were attracted to that.
Yeah. We'll put the link to that in the description here. It was at a low point in my life last year. Very self-deprecating. But, since then, kind of reset, got some deals closed, and then started this team very slowly.
Yeah.
Hired one person at a time, trained them, got them enough leads. Okay, you're good. All right, now I'm going to hire somebody else. It's been a slow burn over 7 months, but like I said, we've done over $400,000 in assignment fees. We got
you guys are
about $250,000 set to close in the next 30 days. And more so, like I'm just not stressed.
Yeah.
I'm not like burning the candle at both ends. I still work a lot. I like to work a lot. But I'm just waiting for my native angel to come into my life.
Well, you know where to head. Head north. But no, I mean, I've had the pleasure too of working in your office today, and I will say you guys freaking work. Yeah. I mean, you're here 8 o'clock. You don't leave for lunch. You're taken to 5. Like that's one thing I've noticed where I'm like, wow, okay, these guys are like you think you work, but it's like you guys work at a different level too.
Yeah. I think it's an example, I come in here, I have a responsibility to be a good leader for these guys, because these guys are here to make money. Ultimately,
Absolutely.
they got to make money, and I want to teach them everything they need to know.
Yeah.
Whether they're with me for a year, 10 years or not. Like if they do this on their own, God bless, but it's my responsibility to make sure that they're absolute savages and give them as much knowledge. And a lot of that comes down to, we start our meeting at 8:00. We train every morning, 8 to 9.
Right.
And then we're on the phones from 9 to 5 minimum. Right. Nobody really takes a lunch or leaves. Nobody really fucks around. We kind of get to work. It's
true.
Because that's kind of how I am. I'm just like really focused when I'm at work. And then when I'm off work, I'm not focused on work anymore.
Yeah.
Now I know I laid it all on the table out, while I was at the office. Now I can relax.
And you enjoy that time more, right?
And way more, because I don't feel guilty for not being here, because I know I was here for 10 or 11 hours and I worked my ass off and I got a lot done.
Yeah.
So now I can take the rest of the day and not dwell on work and think about it.
Totally.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
So, well, dude, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks
for
having me,
seeing
Tony.
you. We got to plan some fun stuff to do here.
For sure.
Pretty
100%.
soon, dude. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, bro.
All right. For Kurt, TONYMONT, we'll see you at the top.